Hey everybody, this is Todd.
And I'm Jill.
And welcome to the Soulful Creator Podcast. All right, welcome back. It is now our episode 3. Can you believe it's been that?
I can't. Welcome back, soulmates. We're happy you're with us.
We're having a lot of fun time. All right. Last episode, we talked a little bit about some of the avatars that we talked about. Those people who are in your play. That was the soul searcher, the victim, and the all about me person, right? So since
we all know plenty of those.
Yes, we do. So we're trying to what was our next episode going to be? We thought, well, dating at 50 would be perfect.
Right, because we figure that you guys are going to be, attracting soulmates on your soul journey. And we thought, what a better way to talk about the power of attraction. The energy that you're embodying is what you're going to attract in a soulmate, because like attracts like, right? We know how energy works. Okay. And that's how we kind of get the soul inventory of what is the soul creating, is it depends on how we're acting. Because when you really understand that, you understand that, people that are like-minded like people like themselves. And I think that's not a surprise that our friends are a lot like us and like to do the same things. It's the same thing when you're doing your soul work, is that gives you an inventory to help you become accountable for where you are on your soul journey. Right.
So when we kind of talked to a few of our kids about, we were going to talk about a dating episode, they were like getting really bug-eyed and like, oh no. So again, if you are our kids, you can tune out if you like. We don't care, but we'll
try not to embarrass you too much.
Embarrass you, yeah. But we said the episode is called "Why Is It Different?" Okay, so we're going to talk about the 25 dating at 25. The vision of usually, again, you can take yourself back to when you were 25, right? When you were dating or in those early 20s or late around that time period, when everything was possible, right, Jill?
Yes. Those were the good days, right?
Yes.
We didn't have a lot of responsibility. All we had to do was take care of ourselves. We were often following our desires.
Right. We had no emotional baggage, usually, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
We had a blank canvas, right? We were looking just for like, hey, you're cute. You got a few things in common with me. Hey, let's go get married, right? It's kind of that thing.
There was no fear. I mean, we'd find a friend and we'd be like, hey, let's hang out. Right. And then we'd hang out and then we would play together, right? Whatever you like to do. If you like to hike, if you like to bike, if you like to run, you like to paint. If you want to write, if you want to do a podcast, you would just hang out with that person and develop a relationship. There was no hurry either, because we had our whole life ahead of us.
That's right. Time was no essence. It was like, what can we do right now in the moment, right? That's what it was when it was 25.
And no children either, by the way, right? So a lot more time.
All right. So things have changed. Okay.
Quite a bit.
And 25 years of life experience later, here we are at 50. Again, no one thought we'd be dating in our 50s. When we get married, you kind of think it's forever and on all that stuff. So there's a lot of territory that is different.
And I want to mention, when you're younger, you don't have the judgment that you have. You don't have the expectations, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have entitlements. You're just more of an open, free soul than you are versus dating at 50, when you've had 25, 30 years of really hard knocks of life kind of beating you down.
That's right.
And conditioning you and into kind of beating you into the human experience.
Right. So it's that canvas we were talking about in the beginning. Like, again, when you're 25, it's a blank, and you didn't have a lot of judgment on the person. You were like, you know what? If he's got a few things wrong, that's fine. I love him, right? We're gonna jump in this together, right? There was all that. So, but again, as you're 50, as we'll tell you, obviously it's a little bit different. And we were explaining this to our kids. They're like, even with Jill and I, they're like, okay, what's taking you guys so long? Let's get married.
Who's in a hurry now?
Who's in a hurry now, right? It's like this weird. I'm like, no, that's not how you do it when you're 50. So we're going to talk a little bit about the 50-year-old vision, right? So that is again, you have the emotional baggage, right? Your canvas is a little bit more colorful.
It's warped.
It's
warped, basically.
It's colorful and
there's a lot of cracks in it,
right?
Yeah.
Right. It's a little bit different. So
it's very different. And it's because by that time, we have a lot of responsibility. We have our children that we have to worry about pleasing. We often have lost ourselves. We don't even remember our soul's desires. We don't remember who we are, what we want, what makes us happy, what's your favorite color. I remember someone after my divorce asking me, what do you like to do? What's your favorite color? I'm like, I have no idea. I had identified myself so much with my ex and him being my other half and what he liked that I completely got lost in there.
Right.
So I think it's really easy, to lose yourself after a lifetime of taking care of families and taking care of children.
Right, and you're out of practice, right? I mean, you haven't really been out there courting, and it's a whole new experience, right? When you're 50, because I mean, that's coming from my experience. I was like, oh my, I got to go do this again, right?
And I think we're scared. We're really, really scared to let go of the life that we had. It was all that we had. It was what we thought was our foundation, right? Take away our life, then who am I? And so there's this whole self-discovery process of rediscovering your soul and reuniting with your childlike self that can really be fun, but it's also really, really scary. And for those of you that know, that are dating after 50 or after 45 even, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find somebody that's really an authentic person that knows themselves because they're going through the same thing. They don't know who they are either.
Right. And so how are some of the things, we're going to talk about how we at 50, the things that we do a little bit different, right? Is at least from my standpoint, is I've, dated a lot of people where they tend to, we think things are going well, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, something happens, or there's different, we're like, well, what happened? And I think a lot of it is that the emotional baggage, right, kind of gets in the way a little bit. And so we tend to push love away. We're kind of scared of it because we don't trust it because of the pain and the other experiences we've had in the last 25 years, right? Would you agree, Jill?
Absolutely has been part of my journey. There was so much pain to process in the crap that I had to live through, during the separation and the divorce and losing my old life and trying to figure out who I was. There was definitely a lot of pain there, and pain had several messages for me that I needed to just kind of sit with that pain and listen to it and learn from it. And so there was a lot of soul work, for me to do, for myself before I could even be a healthy partner for anyone else. And processing that pain can take some time. We have to be patient and loving with ourselves. It doesn't happen overnight.
Right. And the whole trust issue. Right.
Oh yeah, I was closed, guys.
Is a big.
I was definitely
thing.
like, I don't need you.
Right.
I don't need anybody. I can do this myself.
Right.
And I was even closed off from the universe. Like I did, not open to receiving the blessings that I deserved. So learning how to, I think for me, it was once I, looked back at my past and I was able to process what had, the lessons that I needed to know about my soul and to learn my own truth, then I could start to realize that, the universe the whole time had been kind of lifting me up. And I didn't realize it. I thought I was really kind of angry at the universe that I had to let go of my life, that I was the one that had to move on. I had started this amazing business and he ended up with my passion. I'm like, wait a second, why do I have to start over again? And so, trying to get over the anger of why that had happened and accept that endings happen in order for beginnings to happen. And ultimately, after processing everything, I realized the universe really did have my back. I mean, I didn't see it at the time, but looking back now, I realize, okay, I am, I haven't spoken to my ex in, 4 or 5 years, but he wouldn't recognize me because I am not the insecure Jill anymore. And I do not put myself in any type of a position for anybody to use or abuse me or take advantage of me. I have a lot of boundaries now. So, I'm a much more, new and improved, elevated version of myself. And it was a journey to get to that place.
Right. Like the whole trust thing, as far as
trust, it was huge for me.
Again, we met on an online app.
Yes, we did.
It'll be now. Well,
Bumble.
It was Bumble. Okay. And it's funny how you probably agree some of the profiles that you kind of go through, right, of people, and they really are. I mean, they're down to the like, okay, this is what I want. And it's almost like this very unrealistic, like, okay, we're 50 guys. We have we're never going to be that thing, right? But we're very selective because we don't trust.
Right.
Right. And so we're telling, for this time around, we're saying, okay, this is what it's going to happen. Right. And so, and like even for us, Jill's, she had the most creative profile. It was like she was looking for a king. Okay. She's like,
I'm pretty direct, guys.
She goes like, I deserve nothing less than my queendom.
I said,
So
damn
she
it,
was-
I have been busy building my queendom, and guess what? I deserve a king. And if you're not on the road to being a king, then I'm
Right.
not interested. And that was kind of my attitude. It was, was that a bad attitude, good attitude? I don't want to judge myself.
Right.
But
And so it
I
was
did
very-
want an equal reflection. I really did.
Yeah.
So I put that out there. I was very direct.
Right. So that was been, again, my assessment about, okay, am I a king? Well, let's find out, right? In Jill's opinion. So, and it has been a fun and interesting process going through this, finding out who I am, right? And am I a king? And do I deserve someone obviously like Jill, who's wonderful? So that kind of goes into our being able to find the one. Yeah, in order for you to find the one, you've got to be the one, right? And
Which is doing your soul work, guys,
Okay.
right? Which is really reuniting that soulful part of yourself and
Yeah.
having the human and the soul work together so that the human's kind of delivering the soul's desires to it in the physical realm. It's bringing that truth and love and abundance and joy, right, into your reality.
Right, because that is probably one of the pitfalls. Is again dating at 50. There's reasons why people are dating, right? There's people who are looking for different things, right? And again, there's a lot of talk about codependency out there, right? People who maybe don't want to do the work, and they're just wanting to skate on someone's past or whatever
Right.
future and all that. So share a little bit about that experience.
So, I think that I struggled with codependency, even though I had a lot of success in my former life. When I was on my own, I think it was my natural tendency, because I leaned so much on my ex-husband, to want to lean again on a partner. And so I found myself right after my divorce, one of my first relationships that I was in for 4 years, having those expectations of him, of me being able to lean on him. But of course, he was going through a divorce and he was rebuilding. And of course, that's the soulmate that I was attracting, because I was attracting myself, right? To help me realize that I was still struggling with codependency, and I still was struggling to believe in myself and believe in my worth and to do my own work. So I ended up going through a breakup after 4 years with someone that I really loved, because I wanted to have the experience of standing on my own and knowing that I didn't need a man, but I really wanted one. And it was a really, really tough year, and I went through some really hard times. I mean, I lost my one of my jobs and wrecked my car, and I went through a skin issue because I was so stressed out. And it was really hard on my self-esteem, but it's like, I know the soul journey. I know where I can, where I'm off course and how I can course correct. And it also freed the guy that I was dating for him to go have his journey of becoming a king. And I needed to have that journey of really becoming the queen for myself.
Right. Great.
And it started with me kind of dating myself,
Right.
I needed to really see my strengths. I needed to go get the job, find the roommate, find the financial planner, set up my financial independence. I needed to do my work to rebuild my foundation, because the life that I had before, it had crumbled into dust. I was at, ground zero, starting over again. And, and it was part of my soul journey. Sure, I had success with my ex-husband, but now my soul was wanting to have that experience by myself, right? So that, my ex ended up kind of getting the business, and that was my passion, and it kind of ended up with my life. And I'm like, wait a second, why didn't I get credit for any of that, right? But then I thought, well, this is just another opportunity for you to do something that you love. See, the thing is, you guys, that the soul work never ends. It never stops. It's not about getting there ever, which was part of the thing that I struggled with the most, was understanding that it was about enjoying the spiritual growth process and just having something to help me navigate through that, which was being reuniting and having my soul help me remember my truth.
Perfect. All right, so if we're going to give these brave souls out here who are in their, let's say, late 40s, 50s, we are in our 50s, but we love the people in in the 40s.
Shh, don't tell anybody we're that old.
Or heaven's sakes, you might be 30, you might be, who knows? So if we're going to give some advice,
Right.
Jill.
Some wisdom.
So
some
wisdom from maybe, our experience or your experience of, I'm new to this, okay? I'm keep putting that out there. I've only been in 2 years out from a divorce, so I'm new to this. So let's give them some, you said here, date your soul. I kind of like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
So initially after it was actually during my separation was when I realized, because I had no idea my husband left. I had no idea when he was going to come home. It was very bizarre. For like 2.5 years, I had no idea what he was doing. It was all a big secret. And it left me really confused with not knowing what to do, because I was in this interim period of we weren't really married, but we weren't really divorced either. It was very confusing, but that's kind of when my journey began back in 2012. And what happened to me was I just thought, I just need to make some friends. I just need to have some fun. I need to get out of this pain. This pain is just no place for me to stay. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like that's my home, that the energy that I should be embracing. My heart is just breaking, right? And so when I got out there and started to make some friends, I call them my soulmates. I had many soulmates come into and join me on my journey, and I learned a lot about myself. I met a guy that was really fun and took me on motorcycle rides and rock climbing and, carried me up the stairs and just was the total romance, right? I had all different types of personalities of soulmates and all different types of experiences. I dated nerds. I dated really intelligent people. I dated people that were silly and goofy. I dated adventurous people. I had a lot of adventures. I had dated people that challenged me to expand my belief system and just have some new experiences. For a good 2 years, I was out there it was the worst time of my life and the best time of my life at the same time, because I was going through this expansion process as I was elevating and expanding at the same time, and my light was becoming more, and I was becoming so much more elevated, but I needed to have the life experiences with these other soulmates that were pulling me along the way, saying, hey, like for instance, Todd, he's kind of he brings out my creative juices in me because he's very creative. So he's a great reflection of some of my creativity for me to be able to witness that in myself. And that's kind of how the whole soul work, kind of how it works, is for you to see these different pieces and parts of yourself that maybe you see through. So you see yourself through others, because the soul only looks out. It can't really see itself or experience itself unless it has someone to experience that with, because I experience myself through you, if that makes sense.
Perfect. So
that's how you date your soul.
Right. And again,
you say yes, you date your soul.
We find out that a lot of people people I had dated had lots of pain, right? Mm-hmm. Who it was hard because usually the first date you talk to them and it's all about the trauma, right? It's the trauma. That's the first thing that everyone talks about, is how they got here, which is usually one that it's not usually my favorite, but it's about the trauma, because that's what's usually on their mind, and you kind of can tell from there if their heart is going to be open or not because of how they're thinking. So how does one heal the trauma as far, because we know the sob story that people you talk about, right? So that people kind of get locked into that, and they kind of use that even in dating at 50. So share a little about that.
When I dated Brett, you guys probably that know me will come to find out about Brett. That was the relationship that I was in for 4 years. We had a beautiful relationship, and it was very healthy. We both met each other when we were just barely, I want to say, starting to go through the awareness process. We had been awakened, we had been playful, but we were just coming into this awareness process of what have we learned from each other, from our life experiences. And, we came across this book by Greg Bear called Real Love. And it just kind of fell into our life at a particular time. We read it together, and we were learning how to actually find the truth within our stories. And so the first week or so of Brett and I dating, we just shared stories, and we were compassionate, and we were understanding, and found that we had so many similarities in common. And that we'd lived a very similar life. We were able to show up as just being I love the word compassion, because it means that, come home to love and just embrace that passion and pass it on. Be able to pass that on and embrace another as well. And for Brett and I, we did a lot of that, just sharing our stories and talking about what we learned from it, and trying to find those nuggets or those golden truths that would support us in our soul journey, instead of focusing on, being angry or negative. Of course we did our fair share of that, and it took time for both of us to, confront ourselves and make each other accountable through our relationship, to help us see the things we needed to see, so that we could grow and move forward.
Okay. All right, next is opening your heart. Okay? This is a big one.
This is a big one.
This is the elephant in the room.
This
Right,
is
a little bit. So.
Todd and I we've been working a lot together on this, and it's not been Todd's issue. This has been my issue, which is quite hilarious, since I've written a book about love, and I'm supposed to be the love expert,
Yeah.
But because I really did study love from the inside out to come up with this formula on how to embody that energy of love, to act love, to attract love. And although I knew what the truths and the guidance that I was given, which is what we're sharing with you guys about the soulful journey, even though I had that guide, I wasn't perfect at practicing that for a long time. And the thing that I struggled with the most was opening my heart. Not that I was super close, because everybody that knows me, I'm a very open person, and I'm very playful, I'm very fun, very childlike, always have been, high energy most of the time.
Yes.
I feel energy on a high level and a low level. I have a large spectrum of energy that I feel. I'm definitely not middle line, feeling that much and very boring. I'm very, very, feel very high energies, and some days I can't maintain that high energy and struggle with that. So opening my heart, I had been so protective because of what I had gone through, and I was really focused on the loss. And can I really trust myself to rebuild all of that? Although that thought that I trusted myself, and I kind of came down to, Jill, do you trust yourself to make good decisions? If you do, you should be able to trust others, because in the moment that someone shows up that maybe isn't trustworthy, I will always make a choice to basically move on and not allow that person in my life, right? Because it's about having healthy boundaries. So Todd's still here, so we're actually doing really well with trust. But, opening your heart was a journey of me allowing the fun, trusting the love, the abundance, the joy, and just being able to open and allow it to come in and accept it and know that I'm worthy of it. And, I think I've been doing pretty good with that.
Yeah.
And we've had a lot of fun together, using the five senses and different things to have this intense feeling. And I find that joy, and using the five senses to raise my vibration, to elevate my energy, is what really helps me have those beautiful, loving experiences that opens my heart and it heals my heart at the same time.
Right. So the part about, again, opening your heart talks about, it's you have to heal your heart first, right? And we all know that Jill has taught me this. I've learned a lot of things from her, by the way. Is that everyone's schedule is different, right?
Right.
So it takes time it might take a lot longer for someone, and it might, might take 2 months for some, right? But it's all in
divine timing. Is part of
right.
realizing that, the universe or God or whatever you want to call the higher energy, it really has your best interest in mind and your soul growth in mind. And
right.
So just trusting the process and understanding that the universe is a friendly universe and supports me in experiencing and becoming and witnessing my highest self.
Right.
And I think that's really helpful, and I tell myself that all the time.
Okay. And then figuring out what people want. Again, that comes from dating a lot, right? It's getting out there and testing the waters and not, stopping, right? You want to make sure that you're testing, again.
I think that with figuring out what you want, you kind of like, that goes back to dating yourself and really understanding and kind of reuniting with your child self, which we'll talk about in later episodes, but really getting back in touch with the child self that before all of the world contaminated you with beliefs that are based on illusion, right? And lack and limitation, that, the programs that run in your head that I can't, and that life should be this way or shouldn't be this way. We have to get rid of all that crap that stops us from growing and get back to what it was like. I have a granddaughter that is so much like me, and I see her bravely taking on the world, and there is nothing you can do to stop this girl. So come hell or high water, she's going to do what she wants to do, and I love that about her. And that's what she reminds me through her, that that's the way that I am, and that I, can be more authentic and be more like that in my life.
Great.
And that helps me know, when I reunite when we come together with our soul and we reunite, that's helping me remember, I like to be physically active. I like to be constantly creating. I'm a colorful person. I like entertainment. I like dopamine, right? I want to be constantly helping and having beautiful new experiences. And that is definitely, I'm a passionate girl, and that definitely comes out and helps me realize I want to be with a passionate guy. I will never go back to boring ever again. Being married to someone that is not who I am doesn't really serve me, right? So finding someone that's willing to go on those adventures with me and to be someone that is on their own journey and that is brave enough to be doing their own soul work, that they can be the authentic person that they were meant to be, so that he can become a king, right? Because I want to be the experience of the queen. I don't want to be the king. I want to be the queen. My ex used to say I'm Princess in the Pea. Well, that's true, right? But I want a guy too that's just exactly that way as well.
Right. It's that reflection, right?
Yeah.
You want that exact reflection in your partner, and I think that's one thing that I really learned in the past few months is like, you don't want someone who's down here. You want someone who's right at your level, right? Because it won't work if it's not at that right reflection. So,
right.
But anyway, this is our first of many dating episodes. There's a lot of juicy and fun stuff.
I'm sure more will come out.
But more will come out in the future. But for now, we're gonna end and hope that, again, you guys have learned a little bit something today. It's, again, children, it's different at 50, okay?
It is.
We're having fun, and we're trying to be as youthful as possible. It's kind of hard when these bodies sometimes don't work, but we're trying to keep up with those
it's really
kids.
the fun part too. Dating when you're old is you really do have the freedom again, the canvas again, and it can be the blank canvas. It can be a little overwhelming,
very much,
of what you can actually recreate with someone. But to just embrace the fact that you have a chance to be fully alive and live again. And to, focusing on not what today isn't, but what today could be, and then go make it happen.
Perfect. Well said, Jill.
All right.
All right. We'll see you
guys
next time.
next time.